The spaceport was crowded. People moved fast, announcements echoed in every direction, and machines rolled by with blinking lights. In the middle of all this noise stood Mira, holding her small son's hand tightly. Her clothes were simple and worn, and her eyes showed signs of tiredness. She had been awake all night working the cleaning shift, but she couldn't miss this flight. They were supposed to travel from Earth's low-orbit station to a mining colony on Mars, where Mira had found a new job. The pay wasn't great, but it was enough to start fresh. Her son Tomo, only 8 years old, looked up at her with wide, curious eyes. "Mama, is this the right gate?" Tomo asked. Mira checked the digital ticket again. "Gate 12B, she said softly. She looked around and saw the number flashing nearby. Without thinking much, she pulled her son along. The crowd pushed behind them. The gate scanner beeped, and the door opened. She walked in with Tomo, thankful to finally be done with the crowd. The ship's hallway was quiet, cleaner than anything she had ever seen. A silver android nodded at her and guided them toward private cabin. Mira blinked in surprise but said nothing. Maybe this was a new feature for mothers with children. Inside, the seats were wide and soft. The lights were warm, not too bright. Mira helped Tomo into one of the chairs and gave him a protein bar from her bag. "Eat this. We'll get real food once we land." Tomo nodded happily and munched. Suddenly, the door hissed open. A man stepped inside, tall, wearing a dark coat with quiet, serious steps. He had a sharp face, unreadable eyes, and looked like someone who didn't smile much. Mira's heart skipped. She quickly stood up. "I'm sorry, is this your cabin?" The man didn't answer at first. He looked at her and then at Tomo. Something flickered in his eyes, but his face stayed calm. "This is a private flight," he said slowly. Mira's face turned pale. I must have come to the wrong gate." "Oh no." Tomo looked worried. "Mama," she placed a hand on his head. "It's okay, baby." The man pressed a button on the panel. "Sira," he said. "Who else is on this flight?" A smooth voice replied from the wall. "Passenger count. 2 guests have boarded mistakenly. Protocol recommends return to gate before departure." Mira's voice shook. "Please, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. We'll leave right away." But outside, a warning light blinked. The engines had started. "Launch sequence active," the man sighed, then looked at the ceiling again. "Sira, 2. Late?" "Yes, sir. Launching in 40 seconds. Mira's legs felt weak. "No, please. I can't afford another ticket. I'm just trying to get to Mars." The man looked at her again, a longer look this time. His eyes softened just a little. "Sit down," he said. "What?" "Buckle your son in. The flight's beginning. You'll stay for now." She hesitated, then did as told. She helped Tomo with the seatbelt, then sat beside him. The man took the opposite seat and stared out the window. The ship lifted gently, with barely a sound. Earth slowly dropped behind them. Stars stretched across the glass, and the blue curve of the planet glowed like a dream. Tomo whispered, "Wow." Mira stared too. She had never been on such a quiet, clean ship before. It didn't look like cargo. It looked like royalty. She glanced at the man. He said nothing, just watched the stars with a tired look. Mira felt nervous again. "I'm sorry," she said, trying to be polite. "I really didn't mean to come on this ship. I was supposed to take the public flight to Mars. Maybe your gate looked like ours." The man finally turned toward her. "You were at gate 12B?" "Yes," he nodded once. "My ship is at 12 Baitsa. The public gate is 1 floor below." Mira let out a soft breath. "Of course. I was rushing. We were late. I just made a mistake." He didn't scold her, didn't ask more questions. Just went quiet again. Tomo leaned forward a little. "Sir, are you the captain?" The man raised one eyebrow, then gave a very small smile. "No, I'm just a traveler like you. Tomo smiled. Cool ship. Thank you, Mira smiled faintly. His name is Tomo, I'm Mira. The man gave a polite nod. Rayan. Mira didn't recognize the name. She was too tired. But it sounded rich, important. Tomo started to fall asleep, and Mira took off her coat to cover him. She then sat back, her eyes heavy. She didn't know where they were going exactly, but at least they were safe for now. Rayan watched her carefully. He had seen hundreds of people in his life, businessmen, liars, actors, but this woman was real. Her voice, her movements, her tired but calm face. They weren't fake. Sarah's voice echoed softly in the cabin. Arrival in 2 hours. At Lunaris Station, Mira opened her eyes. Wait, Lunaris? That's not Mars. Rayan looked at her. No, it's not. Mira's face turned white. But my job, my place. What will I do? You'll be fine, he said. I'll arrange a return for you, but for now you're my guest. Mira didn't know what to say. She simply looked down at her sleeping child. Rayan looked away. But deep inside, something had already changed. For the first time in years, he didn't mind the mistake. The stars outside the window blinked like quiet lamps in the dark. The ship moved smoothly through space, passing near small moons and glowing satellites. Inside the private cabin, all was calm. Mira sat with her back straight, trying not to fall. Asleep, her son Tomo was curled up beside her, fast asleep under her coat. She had placed her arm around him, as if protecting him from even the air itself. Across from them, Rayan watched silently. He had seen thousands of passengers before, people trying to impress, people trying to gain something. But this woman wasn't like them. Her hands looked tired, marked with work. Her shoes were old. Her voice was soft but steady. She was not pretending to be brave, she simply was. Rayan leaned back in his seat, thinking. His assistant, Sira, spoke through the ship's eye speaker. Sir, the kitchen module has prepared warm drinks. Would you like me to serve? Rayan glanced at Mira. 2 extra cups, he said. A few moments later, a service droid entered quietly and offered 2 cups of steam-top tea. Mira looked confused. For you, Rayan said. Just tea, nothing strange. Mira accepted it with both hands. Thank you. She took a small sip. It was warm and sweet, something she hadn't had in weeks. The warmth went through her chest and relaxed her tired bones. You don't talk much, she said softly, without looking up. Rayan smiled slightly. I talk when it matters. And does this matter? She asked, curious. He gave a short nod. It might. Mira looked down at Tomo. He's everything I have. His father died in a mining accident last year. I tried to stay on Earth, but everything got expensive. The company offered a small job on Mars. I said yes. I see, Rayan replied, his tone quiet. I didn't mean to end up on your flight. I don't want trouble. You won't have any trouble from me, he replied. Mira nodded. That's kind of you. Most rich people wouldn't care. Rayan looked away, as if hiding something. A few minutes later, turbulence hit. The ship jolted once, then again. Lights blinked overhead. Mira reacted instantly. She unbuckled her seatbelt and bent over Tomo, shielding his small body with hers. It's okay, baby, she whispered, her arms tight around him. Rayan stood calmly and pressed a command panel. Sarah, report. Outer turbulence from passing through an asteroid trail. No internal damage. Stabilizing now. The shaking stopped. Mira remained still, arms still around her son. Rayan walked over and placed a hand gently on her shoulder. It's all right now, he said. Mira slowly sat up, checking Tomo, who was awake but calm. You didn't even panic, she said, surprised. I've been through worse, Rayan replied. But you moved before anyone else. A mother always moves first, she answered simply. Rayan went quiet again. Later, as the ship neared Lunara Station, the moon city appeared through the window. It was beautiful rings of silver lights wrapped around a glowing white moon. It looked like a floating crown in space. Tomo pressed his face to the glass. Is that where we're going? Yes, Rayan replied. Lunaris. My company's main station. You own a company? Tomo asked. Ray and paused, then gave a small nod. Yes, Mira stared at him, surprised. You're that Rayan? He nodded again. Nova Arc. I built it from old ship parts and tech when I was young. I heard of it on the news, Mira said. They say your machines are in every colony. Some, he replied. Mira looked down. And now I've boarded your private ship by mistake. I really am sorry, I told you. No trouble, he said calmly. But inside Rayan was thinking something else. This woman wasn't just a passenger. She reminded him of someone. Her calm voice, her strength, her way of putting others first. It reminded him of his sister, who had died many years ago when pirates attacked a transport ship. She had protected her own child in the same way Mira protected Tomo. When the ship finally landed on the moon base, the ramp opened with a soft hiss. White corridors and clean floors greeted them. Staff in silver uniforms waited, but Rayan raised a hand. They're with me, he said. The guards backed off. Myra looked around. It's so clean. Like a dream. Come, Rayan said. I'll take you to the guest wing. We'll talk after you rest. Mira followed, holding Tomo's hand tightly. As they walked, Rayan spoke softly to Sira through a private channel. No alerts, no reports. Treat her like a guest. Yes, sir, the AI replied. She interests you. She reminds me of something important, he said. What is that? Humanity. Later, Mira and Tomo entered a small guest room. It was cleaner than any place she had ever lived in. A soft bed, warm lights, a clean bathroom with running water. Tomo ran to the window and looked out at the stars. Mama, can we live here? She smiled sadly. No, baby, this isn't our home. Just for one night. But part of her heart whispered, what if? As Myra tucked Tomo into bed, Rayan stood outside the room, watching quietly through a screen. He saw how gently she covered him, how she kissed his forehead, how she whispered a lullaby. Rayan whispered to himself, you protect your world, even in someone else's sky. Then he turned and walked away, but for the first time in many years, he wasn't walking into silence. He was walking into a thought. A question. Maybe this woman didn't board the wrong flight after all. The next morning, Mira opened her eyes slowly. For a moment, she forgot where she was. The soft bed, the clean room, the quiet air, it all felt like a dream. Then she saw Tomo, still sleeping peacefully beside her, and she remembered everything. They were on Lunara Station, the private moon city owned by Rayan, the mysterious man from the ship. It still didn't feel real. Mira got up and stepped near the window. Outside, space stretched wide and endless. She saw the earth glowing far away. The view made her feel small, but also peaceful. It was beautiful and far from everything she had known. Just then, the door chimed. A smooth voice spoke. Miss Mira, this is Sira, the station AI. May I come in? Mira blinked in surprise. Yes. You may. The door slid open, and a silver android entered. It had gentle eyes and moved like a person, not a machine. It held a tray with breakfast, real food. Fresh fruit, bread, warm milk. For you and your son, Sira said, courtesy of Mr. Rayan. Mira stepped back, unsure. This is too much. We're just ... Nobody. Sira paused. He doesn't think so. Mira took the tray slowly. Please thank him. Sira tilted her head. He's waiting. If you're ready, he would like to speak with you in the central garden. Mira dressed simply, combed Tomo's hair, and followed Sira through the shining halls of Lunara Station. Everything looked clean, quiet, and expensive. Workers moved around politely, nodding to her. Some looked confused, as if wondering why a poor woman and her child were walking these halls. Mira kept her head high. They entered a large glass room, filled with green plants, small fountains, and sunlight that seemed to come from above, even though they were on a moon. Birds chirped quietly, artificial, but perfect. In the center sat Rayan, dressed simply, sipping tea. He stood when he saw them. "Mira, Tomo, please sit." Mira sat carefully, placing her hands in her lap. Tomo sat beside her, watching everything. With wide eyes, "I hope you slept well," Rayan said, double quotes, "Yes, thank you." Mira replied, "I've arranged for a transport ship to Mars. It leaves tomorrow morning. It will take you to your original destination safely." Mira nodded. "Thank you. I know I shouldn't have been on your flight. It was my mistake." "It may have been a mistake," Rayan said, "but not an unwelcome one." Mira looked surprised. "Why do you say that?" Rayan didn't answer immediately. He looked at Tomo, who was quietly drawing on a tablet given to him. Then he looked at Mira again. "Do you know what most people say when they meet me?" Mira shook her head. "They talk about deals, technology, money. They pretend to be impressed. But you spoke honestly. You talked about your son. You apologized without fear." Mira looked down. "That's just how I was raised." "I think it's something more," Rayan said. "It's strength," Mira smiled faintly. "Strength comes when you have no choice." Rayan leaned forward. "What if I offered you a choice?" She looked up. "What do you mean?" "I'd like you to stay for a few more days. We're working on a project here, something very important. But the system is old, and the tech we use in the mining sectors is breaking down. Your file says you have 6 years of mining tech experience." Mira was surprised. "You checked?" "My record?" Rayan nodded. "I wanted to know more. You have skills we need. I'd like you to help. Of course you'll be paid well, and your son will be cared for." Mira looked at Tomo. He had made a drawing of the moon station with little stars and rockets. Her heart softened. "I don't want to be a problem," she said carefully. "You're not," Rayan said. "You might be part of the solution." That afternoon, Mira toured the station's tech wing. She saw machines made of clean white metal, glowing cores, and long glass labs. But she also saw problems: cracks in the mining shields, loose circuits, tired-looking engineers. She understood. This place was rich, but something underneath was breaking. At one station, a screen was blinking red. "Power transfer error," a young worker said. Mira stepped forward. "That's a feedback loop from overcharging the coil." He looked surprised. "How do you know that?" She smiled. "I've worked on systems twice as old." She pulled a tool from the belt she had been given and fixed the connection in minutes. The engineers clapped lightly. "Nice work." Far away, Rayan watched from a camera. He saw Mira work with calm hands and a sharp mind. She belonged in space, not on dusty colonies where no one noticed her. He whispered, "She's more than we thought." Later that night, Rayan sat alone in his private quarters. He looked at an old photo on his desk. A woman with kind eyes. A little boy. A younger version of himself. That was before the crash. Before he lost them both in a ship explosion caused by a cheap fuel design. He had never forgiven himself. Until now. He had built walls so high that no one could reach him. But Myra's words had broken through. Her actions reminded him of things he had buried. He turned to Sira. "What do you think of her?" Sira replied, "She is honest, calm, intelligent. You trust her." Rayan nodded slowly. "Yes, I do." Meanwhile, in the guest room, Mira tucked Tomo into bed. "Mama," he whispered, "is this our new home?" She kissed his forehead. "No, love, just a stop. But I like it here. I know." She turned off the light and sat in silence. her heart full of questions. Why was Rayan helping her? Why did he seem so alone? And why did part of her feel like she didn't want to leave? The next morning, Mira walked into the tech lab with a tablet in her hand and a new purpose in her step. Her simple clothes had been replaced with a clean work uniform. It wasn't fancy, but it felt like something real, something earned. She had been asked to help with the failing systems in the lower energy sector of Lunar Station. It was hard work, but she didn't mind. Meanwhile, Tomo had been taken to the Learning Center, a place where children on the station spent their time. It had soft lights, friendly android teachers, and all kinds of space toys. Mira had been worried about leaving him alone, but the staff promised to take good care of him. But Tomo didn't stay there long. After only an hour, he became curious and quietly walked out. No one noticed. He followed the blue hallway lights until he reached a restricted zone. A small door stood open near the lab's repair section. Inside were robot arms, circuits, and half-finished machines. Tomo's eyes lit up. He loved machines. At home, his mother had taught him how to fix simple tools. Here, everything looked like magic. He sat on the floor and picked up a robotic arm. It wasn't working. The joint was stuck. With small, clever hands, Tomo found the problem. A broken wire inside the joint. He grabbed the tiny screwdriver and carefully opened the panel. His fingers moved quickly. In just a few minutes, the arm's light blinked back to life. It moved gently, as if waking up. Behind him, a soft voice spoke. That unit's been offline for 2 months. Tomo turned around, surprised. It was Sarah, the silver android. Oh, I'm sorry, Tomo said. I just wanted to fix it. Sarah tilted her head. You did fix it. Tomo stood up. Please don't tell anyone. I don't want to get my mama in trouble. I won't, Sarah replied. In fact, I think someone should see this. Rayan entered the room a few minutes later. He had come to check on Mira's progress, but stopped when he saw Tomo working. Besides Sarah, the boy had now connected the arm to a control tablet and was making it wave like a human. Rayan folded his arms, a hint of surprise on his usually calm face. Tomo, he said. The boy looked up and froze. I didn't break anything. Sir, I promise. You fixed it, Rayan replied. How old are you? 8. Rayan walked closer. Where did you learn to do that? My mama taught me, Tomo said proudly. She fixes old machines on Earth. I just like helping her. Rayan looked at the boy carefully. Do you like machines? Tomo nodded fast. They make sense. They follow rules. People are harder. Rayan smiled a little. You're not wrong. Tomo hesitated, then asked, Are you the boss here? Yes. And you're rich? Rayan chuckled softly. Yes. Do you like being rich? Rayan's smile faded a little. Sometimes. Tomo tilted his head. I think you look lonely. Rayan didn't answer at first. Then he nodded once. That's very honest of you. Tomo shrugged. Mama says truth is heavy, but we carry it anyway. Rayan looked toward the hallway. Come, let's show your mother what you've been doing. In the tech wing, Mira was busy explaining a system fault to 2 engineers. She drew diagrams and pointed to broken parts. Her voice was calm but confident. The men listened closely. They had learned not to underestimate her. Suddenly, Sarah entered with Tomo and Ray and Mira turned quickly. Tomo, what are you doing here? Mama, I fixed a robot, he said excitedly. Myra looked worried. You weren't supposed to leave the learning room. It's all right, Rayan said. He didn't cause trouble. In fact, he fixed a problem none of us could solve. Mira looked at her son, then at Rayan. Still, I should have watched him better. He's bright, Rayan said. Very bright. Mira gave a soft smile. He's curious, always has been. Rayan turned to Tomo. Would you like to stay in the lab for today? You can help Sarah test some tools. Tomo's eyes lit up. Really? If your mother says yes, Rayan added. Mira nodded slowly. Just stay close to Sira. I will. Hours passed. Mira continued her work in the tech systems. She helped fix a failing power node and designed a safer circuit for the air processors. Workers began to trust her, and even the lead engineer asked for her opinion. In another room, Tomo worked beside Sira. He played with small bots, solved puzzles, and even gave feedback on a tool's design. Sira, though just an android, seemed to enjoy the boy's company. Later, Rayan stood on a balcony above the labs, watching both mother and son. He turned to Sira, who had joined him. You were right, he said. She's more than just a passenger. Sira nodded. She is what your station was missing. Rayan stared at Mira. She reminds me of who I was before I became this. Would you like to become that person again? Sira asked. I don't know, Rayan said quietly. But I know this. I don't want them to leave. That evening, Mira sat with Tomo in their guest room. He was tired but happy. Mama, I want to live here. Mira smiled sadly. It's not our place. Why not? Mr. Rayan likes us. I think he's nice, just a little sad. Mira looked down. He's kind, but he has a different world. Tomo hugged her. Then maybe he just needs someone from our world. Mira didn't answer. But her heart was full of questions again, and this time, hope. The next few days on Lunara Station passed like a quiet dream. Mira worked in the tech labs every morning, fixing systems that even senior engineers had given up on. Her hands were steady, her eyes sharp, and her ideas simple but smart. Everyone started calling her the quiet fixer. Tomo stayed with Sira in the design room. He learned fast, asked questions, and even helped reprogram a cleaning bot. The staff began to smile when they saw him, calling him the little engineer. But the one who watched them most closely was Rayan. From his high office, he checked the cameras often, not like a boss, but like a man watching something he couldn't understand. A woman and child had entered his silent world and brought life into it. One evening, he asked Sira to bring Myra to the private observation deck. It was a quiet place with a glass roof where stars looked close enough to touch. Mira entered slowly. She had changed into a clean uniform, her hair tied back neatly. Rayan stood near the glass, his back to her. You wanted to see me? She asked gently. He nodded. Do you like it here? She looked around. It's peaceful. Feels safe. Most people say it feels cold, Rayan replied. Cold isn't always bad, Mira said. Sometimes it gives you time to think. Rayan turned to her. You speak simply, but your words go deep. Mira smiled. I don't know how to speak like rich people. I just say what I see. Rayan walked to the control panel and pressed a button. A hologram of Lunara Station appeared between them. This station runs on power from 5 energy cores. But one is failing. No one knows why. Mira stepped closer. I might be able to check it. I already asked them to give you access, Rayan said. Then he looked at her with quiet eyes. You've done more here in 5 days than some people have done in 5 years. Mira looked surprised. I'm just fixing things. No, Rayan said softly. You're reminding people how to care. The next morning, Mira went to the failing core room. The hallway lights blinked. Machines hummed weakly. She opened a panel and saw burnt-out wires, old connectors, and signs of damage that had been ignored. She worked quietly for hours, replacing parts, testing power levels. But deep inside the system, she found something strange, a hidden piece of tech that didn't belong. It was old, worn, and leaking energy. Mira frowned. This isn't from Lunaris. This is sabotage. She quickly reported it to Rayan. When he arrived, she showed him the damaged part. This is what's draining your core. It was placed here on purpose. Rayan's jaw tightened. I thought it was just system failure. But this is an attack. From who? Mira asked. I don't know. But someone wants this station to break from the inside. Rayan turned to Sira. Seal this area. Increase guard level. Yes, sir, the AI replied. Rayan looked at Mira. You just saved Lunaris. She shook her head. I just followed the wires. No, he said. You did what others wouldn't. That night, Mira sat in her room, thinking. Tomo was asleep beside her. But her heart was restless. Why had someone tried to damage Lunaris? And why did Rayan look more tired than before? She got up and walked quietly to the garden deck. She expected to be alone, but Rayan was already there, sitting under the fake stars. He didn't turn when she approached. You couldn't sleep either? She shook her head. Too many thoughts. Same here, he said. Myra sat on the bench beside him. You knew something was wrong, didn't you? Before I found that broken part? Rayan nodded slowly. Yes. I felt it, but I didn't know where to look, or who to trust. And now? She asked. I trust you. The silence between them grew deeper, but it was not uncomfortable. It felt like space itself, wide, open, peaceful. Rayan looked at her. I built this station to get away from people. I told myself it was for progress, for safety. But really, I was just hiding. Hiding from what? She asked gently. From guilt, from memories. From myself. Myra waited. My wife and son died 10 years ago, he said. In a transport crash. A system failure in one of our early ships. I was too busy chasing profit. I signed off on a cheap design. Mira's heart tightened. I'm sorry. I never forgave myself. Rayan whispered. So I came here, built walls, lived in silence. He looked at her with tired eyes. Until you walked into the wrong ship. Mira looked away. Maybe it wasn't wrong. Rayan smiled faintly. Maybe not. The next day, a team of security officers found more hidden devices buried deep in the tech walls. They were small, but dangerous. If Myra hadn't discovered the first one, Lunaris might have lost power in days. Raya gathered the workers in the main hall. Lunaris was built to shine, he said. But we've allowed shadows to grow. Thanks to Mira, we've seen the truth. He turned to her. And now we begin again with clear eyes and open hearts. The workers clapped, not because he was the boss, but because the words felt real. For the first time, Rayan wasn't just a CEO. He was a human being again. That night, Tomo stood by the window with Mira. Mima, he said. Do you think Mr. Rayan is lonely? She nodded. He was. But I think he's healing now. Tomo smiled. Good, because I think we were meant to find him. Mira pulled him close. Maybe he found us too. Outside the glass, Lunaris glowed brighter than before, and in the heart of its cold halls, warmth had returned. Lunaris Station had never felt so alive. The halls were filled with soft light. The workers smiled more often. Engineers, once too afraid to speak openly, now shared their ideas. And in the center of this quiet change stood Mira. She no longer felt like a guest. She was part of something. She worked long hours, side by side with the repair teams, helping upgrade systems and scanning for any remaining sabotage. Rayan made sure her ideas were heard, and slowly, other department heads started asking her for help too. Tomo became a regular visitor in the design room. Sira, the android, often walked beside him like a quiet guardian. Tomo learned how machines think, how they listen, how they follow logic. He asked questions that even the adults couldn't answer. It was a new life. A good one, but good things don't always last without test. One morning, red lights flashed across the control panels. A loud alarm shook the station walls. Warning. Outer wall breach detected. Emergency protocol active. Sarah's voice echoed. Mira, working in the energy wing, looked up sharply. What's happening? Rayan's voice came through her tablet. Mera, get to the safe zone now. We're under attack. Attack? She whispered, eyes wide. A foreign drone broke through our shield, he said. Explosion near the oxygen tanks. Emergency crews are moving now. Stay with Tomo. But Mera was already running. Tomo had been in the learning room, playing with a puzzle robot. When the alarms started, the staff moved the children to the safety bunker. But as they did, the door to the room jammed shut. Sparks flew. The lights blinked out. Tomo looked around. Sira? The android appeared through a side hall, moving fast. I'm here. Come with me. I can't leave the others, he said. Sira paused. Brave choice. She scanned the door. Jammed by an energy spike. I'll lift it. With robotic strength, Sira pulled the door open. The other children rushed out, guided by staff. Sira grabbed Tomo's hand. Now we run. Meanwhile, Rayan was in the command center. Screens showed damage on the outer wall, dark smoke, broken panels. Security drones tried to block more enemy signals, but the attackers were clever. This wasn't just sabotage. It was a full strike. He turned to his chief of security. Get Myra and Tomo out safely. That's priority one. But sir, the control systems. I'll handle them, Rayan said sharply. Just protect them. In the lower hallways, Mira turned a corner and saw Sira running toward her with Tomo in her arms. Mama! Tomo called out. Mira rushed forward and hugged him tightly. Are you okay? Are you hurt? I'm fine. Sira saved me. Mira turned to the android. Thank you, Sira nodded. He's brave. He wanted to help the others. I know, Mira said, holding her son tighter. More alarms rang out. Another breach. Near Sector 3, Sarah reported. We have to move, Mira said. Now, while Mira and Tomo were being led to the bunker, Rayan stood alone in the heart of the control deck. Smoke filled the air. The glass cracked above, but his hands moved. Fast over the controls, he rerouted power. Activated emergency shields. Locked down failing doors. Suddenly, a final message came through the system. Self-destruct virus activated. Core meltdown in 5 minutes. Rayan froze. Someone had planted a hidden virus deep inside the control system. If it reached the energy core, the station would be lost, and there was only one way to stop it from inside the core room. Mira reached the command hallway just as a guard was closing it down. Where's Rayan? She asked. In the core sector. He locked himself inside. Mira's eyes widened. He'll get killed. No one else can override the virus. I can, Mira said. The guard hesitated. You don't know me, she said. But I've fixed things your best people couldn't. Open the door. The guard looked at her, then stepped aside. Inside the glowing core room, the heat was rising. Warning lights flashed everywhere. Rayan stood near the central panel, sweat on his face, fingers racing across the screen. Suddenly, the door hissed open. Mira entered with quick steps. You shouldn't be here, he said. And you shouldn't be alone, she replied. Rayan didn't argue. Can you help? Move, she said. Together, they worked two minds. One goal. Mira found the virus code and traced it through the core's data path. Rayan rerouted the power flow, giving her more time. The system fought back, trying to shut her out. Almost there, she whispered. Just a few more lines. Then clicked. The virus was erased. The red lights turned blue. The station stopped shaking. Outside, cheers broke through the silence. System stable, Sira's voice said. All clear. Rayan leaned back against the wall, exhausted. Mira looked at him, heart pounding. You were going to give your life for this place, she said. I already gave my life to it, he replied quietly. But you you gave it hope. That evening, the people of Lunaris gathered in the main hall. For the first time in years, Rayan stood on the public stage. He wasn't in his usual suit. He looked human, tired, real. He looked at Mira standing beside Tomo. Then he turned to the crowd. I built this station with machines, he said. But I forgot something important, people. He paused. The room was silent. One woman reminded us who we are. One child reminded us what we can become. He stepped aside. And now I want her to speak. Mira looked shocked. The crowd waited. She stepped forward, heart beating fast. I'm not a leader, she said. I'm just a mother. A worker. A person who wanted a better life. She looked at them all. But today we fought back, not with weapons, but with care. With truth, with unity. The hall erupted with applause. Later, as stars shone outside the glass roof, Rayan stood beside Mira. You saved Lunaris, he said. She looked at him. We saved it together. He smiled. Mira, what if I said I don't want you to leave? She looked at him, surprised. Then Tomo tugged her hand. Mama, can we stay? She looked at both of them. Her heart, once heavy, felt light. Maybe this moon was no longer cold. Maybe it was home. The sun of the distant star rose slowly over Lunaris Station, painting the metal walls with a soft golden light. The damage from the attack had been repaired. The sounds of tools, laughter, and footsteps filled the halls again. People had changed. So had Mira. Once just a passenger on the wrong flight. Now she stood at the heart of a new life, one built on strength, kindness, and quiet courage. Mira walked with Tomo through the garden dome, where small earth plants had started to bloom. Engineers had built it as a test chamber for life support systems, but after the incident, the crew decided to turn it into something more, a living place. Look, Tomo pointed. That's my tree. A tiny sprout rose from the soft soil. It was the one Tomo had planted a week ago, and now it had grown its first leaves. Mira smiled. It's strong, like you. Will it grow big? He asked. If we take care of it, yes, she said, kneeling beside him. Just like this station, just like us. In the command center, Rayan stood beside the large viewing window, looking out at the stars. He wasn't alone. The council had returned from Earth's orbit. They brought good news and many questions. But for once, Rayan didn't feel like he had to face them alone. Mira entered the room quietly. She stood beside him. They want to give you an award, she said. He smiled faintly. I don't want one. Why not? Because the person who deserves it more is you. She looked away. I didn't do it alone. You brought life back into this place, he said. You reminded us what it means to care. Later that day, the main hall was filled again. People gathered from every sector. Technicians, cooks, AI engineers, pilots, teachers, even the children. They had come not for a meeting, but for a celebration. The station had survived. And now, it would begin something new. Rayan walked to the center of the stage. This time, he wore no uniform, just a simple shirt, like anyone else. There was a time, he said, when I believed machines and numbers were enough to run Lunaris. I forgot one thing, people. He turned to Mira, standing beside Tomo, but one unexpected visitor changed everything. The crowd clapped. She gave us more than help. She gave us purpose. Then he looked at Tomo, and he reminded us that bravery doesn't always wear armor. After the ceremony, people came to thank Mira. Some offered her a job. Others invited her to teach. A few even asked for advice. She felt overwhelmed, but happy. Rayan later met her near the transport deck, where she had first arrived. They both stood silently, remembering the past weeks. Hard to believe how it all began, he said. By mistake, she smiled. The best mistake of my life. He paused, then turned serious. I want to ask you something. She looked up. I don't want this to be goodbye, he said. Stay. Build something here, with me. Mira didn't speak for a moment. She thought about Earth, the struggle, the loneliness, the closed doors. Then she looked around Lunaris, the kindness, the growth, the people who had become family. and she saw Tomo laughing with Sira and the children in the hall. "Yes," she said softly, "we'll stay." Rayan's face lit up. "You're not alone anymore, Mira," she smiled. "Neither are you." Weeks passed. Tomo joined the small learning academy on the station. He made new friends and started teaching others how to fix small machines. The instructors said he had a gift. Mira took a role in systems design, working closely with Rayan's team. She also led a special group that trained other refugees and new arrivals in practical skills. She found purpose. Peace. And hope. One evening, as the stars shimmered above, Rayan joined Mira and Tomo in the garden dome. Tomo had brought small lights and placed them around his little tree. It was bigger, now almost up to his knees. Mira watched quietly as Rayan crouched beside her son and helped him fix one of the blinking lights. "You really like helping him," she said. "He reminds me of someone," Rayan said with a small grin. "Who?" "My younger self, but he's better." They both laughed. Then Mira looked up. "Do you ever miss Earth?" she asked. "Sometimes, but it never felt like home." She nodded. "Me too." Rayan took her hand gently. "This place, it can be more than a station. It can be the start of something new, a city, a dream." "A home," she said. "Yes," he agreed. "A home." A message from Earth arrived the next day. The council had officially recognized Lunaris as a civilian outpost, a place for engineers, explorers, and even families, and Mira was named in the message as the first citizen advisor, a position of trust and leadership. She was shocked, but when she read the final line, "We see hope in your story," her eyes filled with quiet pride. Months later, the garden dome had tripled in size. Children played under the artificial sky. The tree Tomo had planted now had branches. He named it the Hope Tree. And beneath its shade, people gathered not as workers or passengers or officials, but as a new kind of family. One, built not by blood, but by choice. By shared struggles, and by the quiet strength of one woman, who boarded the wrong flight and changed the course of a lonely space station forever.